Part 117. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1161. Chapter 1161. Yezhiruo finds Nuan Nuan. Ye Qingfeng opened the box, took out a brand, and climbed over to share it with her sister. Who would have thought that Yezhiruo immediately threw away the golden bank card in his hand and grabbed the sign. Sister control. Ye Qingfeng naturally let go and gave the things to her sister, while Yezhiruo held the sign tightly. What is that? Little milkman didn't know what it was, and no one else could understand either. Yezikin turned his head and glanced at Ye Weiwei next to him. Seeing her tense expression, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. 1 year later, she still can't let go. Yezikin put his arm around Ye Weiwei's shoulder and patted her comfortingly, then reached out to take the sign in Yezhiruo's hand. But Yezhiruo was very energetic and didn't let go. Yezikin immediately picked up her daughter and said, "If you like her, then take good care of her." Yezhiruo seemed to understand what his father said and chuckled. Ye Weiwei couldn't help but smile on his face, as if he was very satisfied with his daughter's behavior. Yezhiruo, you remember her, right? The children who were born together, the children who lay in the incubator together, the 2 children with extremely clear destinies. Xiao Qingfeng saw that his sister was happy and continued to sweep away the treasures on the table. He grabbed many things, but the toy car never left his hand. This is in line with Nangang Luo's preferences. This kid will also be a car lover in the future. Nangang Luo likes to collect all kinds of famous cars. He thinks that he can cultivate his godson's hobby in appreciating famous cars in the future. Ye Weiwei held his forehead and said, "If you give him a basket, he will probably put everything in it." "That's good, it means you will be ambitious and smart in the future." Others agree and praise, and everyone likes to hear good words. The final thing must be chosen. Everyone saw that Ye Qingfeng's favorite was toy cars, and Ye Weiwei planned to take him away. At the critical moment, he used his other free hand to follow the abacus on the table. He has a toy car in his left hand and an abacus in his right hand. Putting the 2 things together, he belongs to a wealthy and car-owning family. He is a young man born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Regardless of whether he does anything in the future, the assets of the Ye family are enough for him to squander for several lifetimes. The banquet hall was bustling with activity, and Ye Weiwei had quietly left with his 2 children. She went to the place where Mo Xiangnuan was buried with Yuan Ran and Len Yangzi. Although she has been unwilling to admit that her 3rd daughter is dead, the body must be buried in the ground no matter what. Even though the child was less than a month old, she still set up a tombstone and engraved words on it. Her 3rd daughter had been in this world before, and she would not allow herself to forget it. "Nuan Nuan, today is the birthday of you and your brother and sister. Mommy brought them to see you. I don't know what you will like. Mommy has put many things that girls like in your room." For today's anniversary party, only Ye Weiwei prepared 3 gifts. She would not burn it for the child, and all Mo Xiangnuan's things were stored in the room. Ye Weiwei has been thinking that maybe one day her daughter will come back and there will always be a place for her in the Ye family. "Nuan Nuan, if you are here, you must be the most favored girl in the family. It doesn't mean that adults are partial, but that sister Ye Qingfeng loves Yezhiruo, and she will definitely love Mo Xiangnuan as well." Yezhiruo never let go of the sign with the name Mo Xiangnuan engraved on it, and even now she still holds it in her hand. Ye Weiwei thought that Yezhiruo, the child who was put in an incubator when he was born, was the one who stayed with Mo Xiangnuan the longest in the world. It goes without saying that Ye Qingfeng is a sister controller. Yezhiruo will love her sister very much in the future. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1162. Chapter 1162. Nangang Luo's attitude towards Zhongyun's mother and daughter. Nangang Luo and Yezikin dealt with those people at the first-year banquet together. Halfway through the banquet, Nangong Luo was called home by Mrs. Nangong. Your daughter is sick and has a fever now. It would be a good idea for you not to come back and take a look. Nangong Luo's attitude towards Zhonyun and her children is obvious to everyone. Mrs. Nangong has always known that Nangong Luo doesn't like Zhonyun, but she didn't expect that she doesn't even like the daughter Zhonyun gave birth to anymore. As a mother, she has scolded and explained the truth, but Nangong Luo just won't listen and won't change, and he can't even say something as perfunctory as "I will change." Mrs. Nangong naturally felt guilty about Zhonyun as her daughter-in-law, so she did what she could to help. Just now Zhonyun called her to tell her that Nangong Yu was sick. The Nangong family was such a junior in this generation, so he was naturally favored. Mrs. Nangong was worried about her granddaughter and hurried to the hospital for treatment. Knowing that the child was suffering from fever, she also very worried. Zhonyun kept guarding her daughter, and occasionally said a few words about Nangong Luo, and she also understood the underlying meaning. Mrs. Nangong called her one after another, so Nangong Luo had no choice but to say goodbye to Yezikin. "Boss, let Beye watch over here for you, and I'll leave first." "It's okay, you can go." Nangong Luo turned around and took 2 steps before coming back. When facing Yezikin, he hesitated. "Well, boss, I have one more thing to ask." "Explain." "Luli, we haven't contacted each other for more than a year, but I know the only one who talks to her from time to time. Has she ever said when she will come back?" "Never, but judging from her tone, it seems that she will stay abroad for a while." Yezikin can say this, which proves that Gongqinli will not come back in a short time. Nangong Luo didn't know what his current state of mind was. To this answer, he could only reply, "Okay, I understand." Yezikin suddenly asked him, "Have you ever thought about going to find her?" Nangong Luo laughed at himself. "What qualifications do I have?" And Nangong Luo has always had a thorn in his heart. Brother Gu has been going there for almost a year. Yezikin nodded, "Yes." Gu Chensi also went to that place shortly after Gongqinli left. Maybe the two are really together now. The biggest gain from Nangong Luo's first-year banquet was that he learned about Gongqinli. Although it was only a little bit, it was enough to upset him. Nangong Luo wanted to go to the hospital to show off because Mrs. Nangong was nagging her so much that she had no choice but to go to the hospital. Zhonyun was very happy when she saw Nangong Luo coming. "Luo, you are here." Mrs. Nangong gave Nangong Luo a look, and Nangong Luo asked a few questions about the child. "The child is fine, just pay more attention to protecting him." Nangong Luo stayed in the ward for a while and then went out. He has no feelings for Zhonyun, and of course he has no feelings for Zhonyun's children. Zhonyun chased him out, and the two of them looked around the corner in silence, and finally stopped. "You is fine now, thank you." "Thank me for whatever I did." He had never done anything, so he didn't know what this thank you meant. But Zhonyun said with satisfaction, "Thank you for coming to see you." Nangong Luo sighed, "You don't have to thank me, because I can't fulfill your request." Nangong Luo suddenly said these words, and the slight smile on Zhonyun's face gradually disappeared. "I don't have any extravagant demands. I will be very satisfied if you come to see you." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1163. Chapter 1163. Give Nangong Yu paternal love. As for what Zhonyun wants from Nangong Luo, that has to start after Zhonyun gave birth. After giving birth to the child, Nangong Luo told Zhonyun that he wanted to end the 10-month partnership, but Zhonyun refused. Zhonyun used the child to win over the hearts of the elders of the Nangong family. The elders cherished this only junior. Zhonyun asked him during confinement whether he had found a suitable marriage partner. Of course he didn't. Zhonyun said, "You and I both need a status, and you need a wife. Wouldn't it be better for us to help each other like this?" Nangong Luo didn't think much about it at the time, but Zhonyun begged hard, saying that the child had just been born, and if the divorce happened now, it would definitely cause disputes between the two families, and it would be difficult to clear things up. Coupled with the fact that the Nangong family was very curious about children, Nangong Luo did not tell the truth in the end. Just seeing that child, he will think of the complicated reasons behind the whole thing, so he will never like him. He feels guilty for Fang Yu, but he has already helped Zhonyun give birth to the child safely, and he has paid off the debt with his life. Originally, he didn't have much affection for Fang Yu and Zhonyun, but now he helped Zhonyun and left the child, so that the child would have a worry-free life and he wouldn't owe anything. Zhonyun occasionally mentions Fang Yu, implying that Fang Yu lost his life because he saved him. If Fang Yu is still alive, Yu will not lose his father, so Zhonyun hopes that Nangong Luo can give Yu some fatherly love. However, Nangong Luo clearly rejected her. "I helped you hide it because it was not a matter of kindness or mutual benefit. I let you and your daughter live a good life. You helped me deal with the elders of the Nangong family. I don't care about the others, and you can't ask too much of me." Nangong Luo made it clear, and Zhonyun agreed. But in fact, Zhonyun is not willing to get just this, so they seem to be calm on the surface, but in fact they can't even treat each other as guests. Nangong Luo was in a bad mood today, and with Zhonyun's wisdom, she also guessed the reason. Nangong Luo wanted to go to the birthday party early this morning. After going there, she felt like she was looking for someone. She knew who Nangong Luo was looking for. It was just because she couldn't let go of Gong Qinli in her heart. A year later, she still couldn't forget her. She didn't know about Gong Qinli's situation, and neither did Nangong Luo. Zhonyun even prayed in her heart that Gong Qinli had better not come back for the rest of her life, so that her position as the young lady of the Nangong family would be secure. Zhonyun said very wisely, "Luo, I know I'm a little selfish, but as you said, we are mutually beneficial. You and I need you as support now, and of course I will fully cooperate with you in your affairs." Nangong Luo was silent for a while, but finally said nothing. "You go back and see Yu. I have something else to do." "Okay, go and do your work." The two went in opposite directions, and Zhonyun's expression changed. "Originally I thought that Nangong Luo was a person who valued affection and righteousness, and would be very kind to her daughter for Fang Yu's sake, but now it seems that she was wrong. She had to show the value of herself and her daughter to prevent Nangong Luo from thinking of divorcing her." Zhonyun did not go back directly. She hid on the other side and contacted a person from across the country. After the call was connected, Zhonyun asked, "Is our agreement still fulfilled?" "At any time." "Then tell me, will she come back?" "Not within half a year at least." "That's good." Zhonyun felt a little relieved. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1164. Chapter 1164. Are you having with Brother Chen? When Zhonyun returned to the ward, Mrs. Nangong saw her alone and couldn't help but shook her head and sighed, "That brat is gone again." Zhonyun smiled bitterly, "Luo Ta has his own things to do. Yu's fever has gone away now, so it's okay." The more considerate she behaves, the more guilty Mrs. Nangong feels towards her. But she could only talk about her son's marriage life and could not interfere. In the end, she still gave Zhonyun some advice. Zhonyun was naturally unhappy, so she counted on the elders of the Nangong family to stand on her side and speak for her, but the Nangong family still favored Nangong Luo. It's strange that she didn't give birth to a son, maybe he would be more popular with his family. Nangong Luo went to Yejia after leaving the hospital. Everyone who is close to Yezikin and Yezhiruo knows that the first birthday party is not only Ye Qingfeng and Yezhiruo's birthday party, but also Mo Xiongnuan's. Since Ye Ziwei wants the child to grow up like the eldest and second child, then they are willing to treat Nuanuan as never disappearing. Nuanuan also sent many gifts. Gongqin Li, Nangang Luo, Yuan Ran, and others all prepared them for her individually. Xiaoziun and Han Xingyi arrived late, but they also prepared 3 gifts. Their own small circle held a small party, and the 2 children also had a great time. When he learned that Xiaoziun was pregnant, Ye Wei happily blessed her. Yuan Ran stared at Xiaoziun's belly with a little bit of envy in her eyes. Bi took her into his arms and whispered a few words into her ear, which made even a calm person like Yuan Ran reach out and tug at his ear. Don't talk nonsense. Okay, I won't say anything anymore, your ears will turn red if you pull them. Yuan Ran glared at him, let go of his hand, and turned around to play with the 2 children. It can be seen that Han Xingyi is very considerate to Xiaoziun, but Xiaoziun does not seem to be happy. When Xiaoziun announced his retirement from the industry, Ye Wei asked the reason and said it was because of marriage and children. Now it seems there are other things. But Xiaoziun didn't want to say it, and as a friend it was difficult to get to the bottom of it. You're so pregnant and you're coming here, why don't you just hang out in S City for a few days and then go back? Ye Wei sincerely extended an invitation to them, and Han Xingyi turned his head and asked Xiaoziun for his opinion. Xiaoziun hesitated for a moment, but finally shook his head, no, Hoshino and I still have some things to deal with. We have to go back after this meal. As expected of an actor, Xiaoziun's smile is impeccable. If Fei only knew her very well, he might not be able to detect that she actually had something on his mind. Yuan Ran and Bi were very close and went home directly after the party. Xiaoziun originally made up her mind to leave, but Ye Wei tried to persuade her to stay. It was until Xiaoziun's words became numb that she agreed to rest here tonight. That's great, we haven't seen each other for a long time, we can have a good chat. The 2 children went to bed on time, and Ye Wei took Xiaoziun to whisper. Yezikin and Han Xingyi, 2 men who had been love rivals when they were young and ignorant, looked at each other. In the end, it was Yezikin who spoke first, ahem, come to the study with me. Han Xingyi raised his eyebrows, why, you want to whisper to me too? Yezikin. Han Xingyi said that he was very happy to see Yezikin's serious look. The 2 of them entered the study one after another. Yezikin walked straight to a bookcase, took out a few books and placed them in front of Han Xingyi. Take it. Title, I'm very happy with my skin. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1165. Chapter 1165 The Indescribable Books Collected by Brother Chen. What is this? You're not going to give me a little H book, are you? Han Xingyi didn't see the text on the cover of the book in Yezikin's hand, so he scratched his head again. Yezikin glanced at him and said, if you don't want to, forget it. Hey, don't. Han Xingyi rushed to take the book back from his hand. Looking down, the 3 words pregnancy preparation book are very conspicuous. He flipped through the basics again, and found that the Encyclopedia of Pregnancy in 10 months, Nutrition during 40 weeks of pregnancy, stories of prenatal education for pregnant mothers and other knowledge books about pregnancy are all here. Very strong. They are good things. Han Xingyi hugged the book without letting go and accepted all these good things without ceremony. He held the book and raised his eyebrows at Yezikin, thank you. What do 2 grown men have to say? Han Xingyi started reading seriously after getting the books. He sat alone on the sofa in the hall and read them carefully. Ye Wei, who was going downstairs to collect water, saw this scene. He turned around and teased Xiaoziun, it's great that you are married. I just saw Han Xingyi reading a book downstairs. Do you know what it is? Encyclopedia of Pregnant Women. Xiaoziun couldn't help laughing. Ye Wei stared at her for a while and said, "Yun, you finally smiled." Xiaoziun touched his cheek and said, "I've been smiling." Ye Wei nodded, "Yes, you have been smiling, but only the smile just now was a smile from the heart." Xiaoziun sighed helplessly, "Oh, now I wonder how I got the actor award, and you guys saw through it so easily. Then you admit that you are worried and unhappy." "Actually, it's nothing, I just feel like I've given up on something I've been pursuing, and I haven't adapted to it for a while." "Is it really just like this? Then why do you give up? Even if you get married or pregnant, you don't need to leave the circle." Ye Wei has always had doubts about this matter. Xiaoziun insisted on the reasons she gave, "Everyone has their own choice. I just chose family." "Okay, respect your choice." Although he thought her reason was a bit weird, Ye Wei had nothing to say. "The Xiaoziun I met during the new year was full of energy and full of expectations for a better life in the future, but now I suddenly felt that it's really not good to grow up." "What? You guard 2 little babies every day, and you still have the love of your husband. What's wrong with that?" "It's not about family, I just think about you and Liulai among my friends. You two have the liveliest personalities, but now that Liulai has left and will not come back, you are also worried. So what is going on in real life?" Xiaoziun did not give her an answer in the end. They only stayed at Yejia for one night and left the next day. Xiaoziun discussed with Han Xingyi about finding a job after returning home. Han Xingyi supports her unconditionally. Xiaoziun received the interview notice as soon as she submitted her resume. But it was not a normal interview procedure, because she was recognized as soon as she went there. "I thought someone was using fake information, but I didn't expect it was really the star." As soon as he heard those words, Xiaoziun knew that his job could not be carried out normally. Over and over again, she gave up looking for a job outside. "Let's wait until those people forget about it before we go." Time went by like this. Xiaoziun's belly grew bigger, and in a blink of an eye, the due date was 1 month away. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1166. Chapter 1166. Yang Yan loses his male function. In the past few months, Xiaoziun was raising her baby at home because it was inconvenient to go out to find a job. She signed up for a pregnancy course and did many things that were completely good for her child, as if she wanted to make up for all the guilt she had felt on her child. Han Xingyi deliberately spent less time with her on work matters, and would take Xiaoziun with him if he had to travel far for work that lasted more than a week. They are not short of money, and they can live a peaceful life like this. But not everything in this world is beautiful. As Xiaoziun gradually forgot about the nightmare, the creator of the nightmare reappeared in her life. Flower arranging is actually not difficult. Try it according to your own style, such as this bright one. Xiaoziun had nothing to do and was teaching a young servant simple flower arrangement skills at home. Hurrying footsteps could be heard outside, and the nanny who took care of Xiaoziun had an express bag in her hand. "Madam, there is an express message for you." Xiaoziun was a little confused because she hadn't bought anything recently. "Give it to me." She took out the express mail, tore it open along the seal, and took out a piece of paper. The writing was in black and white, and the black writing was particularly clear. It was exactly the time, place, and even the room number where she was plotted by Xiangyan a few months ago. Hands trembled, and the express bag fell to the ground. "Madam, what happened?" "No, it's okay." Xiaoziun clenched the white paper in his hand tightly. The veins on the back of his hand were obvious, which showed how hard he exerted himself. Xiaoziun returned to the room without saying a word. Seeing this situation, the nanny quickly contacted Han Xingyi. The peaceful life these past few months has been too long, so long ago that she almost forgot that person and that nightmare, but now, Xiang Yan appears. Xiaoziun has been having trouble sleeping and eating because of a letter, and has been feeling depressed recently. Han Xingyi tried his best to make her happy. Privately, Han Xingyi has sent people to track down Xiang Yan's whereabouts. Han Xingyi was particularly angry because of this incident. It seems that I was too kind to him before. Brother Han, we didn't act lightly last time. Last time, Xiang Yan was beaten to the point of fracture. He had to lie down for a whole month before he could get out of bed, and it took 3 or 4 months to almost recover. After Xiang Yan recovered, he couldn't help but find a woman to vent his feelings to, but he got into a big embarrassment in front of the woman because he couldn't be tough anymore. It was the bowl of medicine that Han Xingyi gave Xiang Yan before that had an effect, causing Xiang Yan to lose that ability. It was a matter of man's dignity. Xiang Yan avoided people and went to the hospital, but somehow his whereabouts were discovered by the paparazzi. In the end, he had no choice but to go abroad to seek medical treatment. Not only that, the Xiang family also suffered a business blow from their peers. It was inadvertently revealed that Xiang Yan was the cause of the trouble, and Xiang Yan was forced not to return home. Han Xingyi's revenge certainly did not stop because of this. As long as it made Xiang Yan unhappy, he would never miss it. Xiang Yan, a celebrity, hid like a thief. The hospital's examination report was exposed somehow, leaving him in a state of embarrassment. Xiang Yan finally knew that there was a hand behind all these things. He has made too many enemies, and Han Xingyi is definitely the most enemies. Xiang Yan really hid this time and didn't show up for a whole month. Han Xingyi didn't care about him at the moment, and he didn't expect him to run out again. Xiang Yan harassed her intentionally or unintentionally but did not go out. Xiaoziun was worried about the fetal gas and entered the hospital in advance to prepare for delivery. That day, an unexpected guest came to her ward. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1167. Chapter 1167 Xiaoziun's shame is announced to the public. Xiaoziun glanced at the doctor in a white coat and didn't pay much attention. The doctor suddenly took off his mask and asked, "Yunur, how are you doing lately?" Xiaoziun's whole body froze. She looked up and saw the face of that person, the face from her many midnight nightmares. This is not a real doctor, but Xiang Yan who is deliberately disguised. Xiaoziun reached out to ring the bed bell, but Xiang Yan had already planned it and stopped her movement. "Why don't you talk? It's been a long time since we last met. I miss you very much." "What about you?" Xiang Yan said shamelessly. Xiaoziun didn't want to see him at all. "Get out. Don't force me. It's you who is forcing me." Xiang Yan shook his head. "Tisk, tisk, tisk, I'm just catching up with an old lover. Your attitude really makes me sad." Xiaoziun threatened, "If you don't leave, I'll call the police." Rather than being threatened, Xiang Yan let go of the hand holding the bed bell and said, "Ring it so everyone can come and see you, stay with me." Xiaoziun took a deep breath. Xiang Yan, the scoundrel, calculated on people's hearts and took what she cared about most as a threat, forcing her to obey. "What on earth do you want to do? I heard that your child is about to be born, and I want to give you a gift as a blessing." "Unnecessary. You'll care. What do you want to do?" Xiaoziun suddenly became more vigilant. Xiang Yan took the next step and sat beside her bed, stretched out his hand and pinched her chin. Xiaoziun pushed him away hard. "Get out of here." Bang! The two of them broke the glass next to them during their argument. Xiaoziun was so angry that her breathing became heavier. Xiang Yan stared at her with a smile. "It's true that you don't have to drink wine as a penalty for toasting. There was a knock on the door in this indescribably tense atmosphere. Xiaoziun was eager for someone to come in, so Xiangyan pulled up his mask. The nurse came in to check the ward, and Xiangyan walked out without saying a word. Which doctor was it just now? The nurse wanted to ask, but Xiaoziun's face was extremely ugly. Mrs. Han, are you okay? Xiaoziun took a few deep breaths and felt a pain in her stomach. She was angry and anxious. She put her hand on her lower abdomen and was even more worried about the child in her belly. She quickly told the nurse, "Call the doctor quickly, I have a stomachache." Because Xiang Yan came for a visit, Xiaoziun had fetal contractions again. Han Xingyejia sent people to guard to prevent any irrelevant people from approaching Xiaoziun, while on the other hand, he pursued Xiang Yan with all his strength. Xiang Yan, who was hiding in the dark, had a home and could not return. The former star was as embarrassed as a mouse crossing the street. He was unwilling to give in and took out a photo that he had hidden for a long time. The expression on his face was almost distorted. "If you can't get it, then destroy it." Xiang Yan contacted the city's largest entertainment newspaper and posted the photo with the word Xiaoziun on it. Xiaoziun, who had become famous for a while, broke the news again. The incident at the party 6 months ago was also revealed, and there was also the previous scandal between Xiaoziun and Xiang Yan. Various events were intertwined, and Xiaoziun's name was once again a hot search topic. There were so many insults online that Han's mother couldn't sit still and rushed to the hospital to confront Xiaoziun. Xiaoziun was originally blocked from accessing the internet by Han Xingyi. Han's mother showed up with this shocking news and even took out the original photos to question her. "Now everyone knows that my daughter-in-law of the Han family knows no rules and is careless, and my son is also dragged down by you. How can you be worthy of him?" Xiaoziun said nothing when she saw those things. She just felt that her world was about to collapse. It hurts. Stomachache. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1168. Chapter 1168 Difficult childbirth, should I keep the baby big or small? Xiaoziun clutched her stomach and cried out that it hurt. Mother Han was at a loss and panicked all of a sudden. Xiaoziun was born prematurely. The screams of pain coming from the delivery room were heart-wrenching to hear. Han Xingyi, who had arrived in a hurry, was pacing outside the delivery room. If Han's mother hadn't been holding him, he would have rushed in desperately. "It's still more than half a month before the due date, why is it so far in advance?" Han Xingyi took all his anger out on the nurse. The nurse quietly glanced at Han's mother for a few times, and Han Xingyi regained some sense. "Mom, why are you here now?" When he insisted on marrying Xiaoziun, Han's mother started to be angry with him. From the time of marriage to now, that is, she has only been here now. Han's mother suddenly appeared, and Xiaoziun was born prematurely. It shouldn't be a coincidence that these two things collided. When Han Xingyi asked, Han's mother saw that his expression was very serious, and she felt a little panicked. After all, Xiaoziun was asked because of her. But she couldn't admit it in front of her son. "Xiao, I came here after seeing those rumors on the internet. She had a stomachache when I first came here. You can't blame me for this." "Mom, those rumors outside are all false. But people are reasonable and well-founded. As expected, you still don't believe Yunyun. Did you confront her? That's why Yunyun was born prematurely. Even if you mind Yunyun's loss, don't you care about the descendants of the Han family?" Han Xingyi was really anxious and angry. He was worried about his wife and children, and angry about why his family refused to believe him. Even if you don't understand the feelings between them, you should still respect his choice now. But what did his dearest family member do? Instead of protecting his chess piece, he helped those outside to stab Xiaoziun directly. No matter how powerful the rumors outside are, they are not as powerful as the few words from people close to you. Han's mother felt a little guilty, but she couldn't keep her face in front of her son, and she was unwilling to admit her mistake even though she was trying hard. I'm just asking about the situation. I didn't do anything to her. Let's wait until she gives birth to the child. It's not that Mother Han doesn't care about the children and grandchildren of the Han family, it's just that she always felt that Xiaoziun was unclean. Even if Han Xingyi insisted that it was her child, she was still skeptical. She is still determined to let Han Xingyi do a paternity test after the child is born. Unless the professional test results show that the child is Han Xingyi's son, she can really like that child. Han's mother kept her plan in her heart, and Han Xingyi was too lazy to argue with her at this time. Xiaoziun was born prematurely suddenly, and Han Xingyi did not notify anyone in the Xia family for the time being. Han Xingyi kept wandering outside the delivery room. Suddenly a doctor came out to look for the family members, who are the family members of the mother. Han Xingyi rushed over immediately. I am her husband. The doctor's look and tone were very serious. The pregnant woman has dystocia. The current situation is very critical. Should I keep her older or younger? Both big and small. Please calm down, we will do our best, but please make an early decision, sir. The longer you delay, the more likely it is that both of you will suffer. Han Xingyi gritted his teeth, and with a click, he chose without hesitation, Bao Da. Tweet, little cutie, you were arrested. Shock. The mysterious girl that Mr. Yan picked up called him daddy. The crown prince of the Yan family, who is a level 10 misophobic, personally brought home a little girl with amnesia. He held her in his heart and loved her so much that he pampered her to no end. The little girl is delicate and soft. She can't unscrew the bottle cap and loves to act coquettishly. She wants to hug her when there is thunder and lightning. She screams when she encounters a cockroach. Everyone thought that the young master of the Yan family had a little white rabbit, until later they saw her beating two strong men to the ground with her bare hands, trampling them under her feet and crying. The little girl who was hit was in a panic. Mr. Yan put his long arms into the little girl with sharp claws and hugged her into his arms, coaxing in a low voice, "Stop being a devil in the world, be my little princess." End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1169. Chapter 1169, Give Birth, Give Birth. The child he had waited for so long was now hanging on by a thread together with his beloved wife. Did he make too many mistakes in his previous life? Do you want to punish his wife and children in this life? After the doctor entered, Han Xingyi punched the wall. Han's mother came over and took his hand with a cry of "Oh." She felt heartbroken when she saw the red marks on her fingers. What's so good about that woman? Is it worth it for you to do this to yourself? You said that based on your conditions, you want to find a woman with both talent and beauty, but you just fall in love with her. Han Xingyi once again told Mother Han clearly, "In my eyes, she is the best. I don't want anyone but her." Han's mother beat her chest and said, "What on earth happened to me to give birth to such an unworthy son like you?" She just felt that Han Xingyi's whole heart had been coaxed away by Xiaoziun, and now he didn't even listen to his own mother's words. Han Xingyi broke away from her hand and punched the cold wall again. He turned his head and chuckled to himself, "It hurts? Mom, do you think I'm in pain?" Han's mother scolded him for not living up to expectations, and at the same time felt distressed because of his wounds. "It's all bleeding, you silly boy." Han Xingyi took it back and told Mother Han clearly word for word, "I am bleeding, but you are also a mother. I respect you, but can you think about Yunyun? She is also a woman. She is now for my child, She is on the line between life and death. Did you hear her cry of pain? She is also an ordinary person, and she is also in great pain. As a son, he could not accuse the mother who gave birth to him and raised him, but when the mother he respected became unreasonable, he was really disappointed. Han Xingyi asked Mother Han, compared with so much pain, what does my small injury mean? The screams in the delivery room seemed to be in agony, and Mother Han couldn't say a word in rebuttal for a moment. Let's wait for the result. Result. Han Xingyi stood outside for who knows how long, and the closed operating rooms finally opened again. He walked over eagerly, but couldn't say a word. The doctor took off his mask and showed a happy smile. Congratulations, mother and child are safe. Han Xingyi was surprised, and many emotions suddenly emerged. Perhaps God opened his eyes and allowed his wish to come true. Han's mother also breathed a sigh of relief after hearing the news. Looking at Han Xingyi's appearance just now, if something happens to the child or the adult, the relationship between mother and son will definitely become estranged. Xiaoziun was lucky to survive. The premature baby was put into an incubator, and everything suddenly turned around. Han Xingyi couldn't care less about the rumors outside. He only knew that his wife and newborn child had slowly filled his heart. Yun, thank you. The child was born safely, and Han's father had just arrived. Han Xingyi notified the Xia family. The Xia family is far apart from each other, and they rarely pay attention to entertainment news after their daughter quit the entertainment industry, so they now share the joy of their daughter's birth. The Xia family's parents were honest and responsible, and they were overjoyed to learn that their daughter had given birth to a son safely. Xia's mother even brought her things to the hospital, planning to accompany her daughter during confinement. Women are weak after giving birth. I have been there, and I know what to do to keep them healthy. Xia's mother was very enthusiastic towards the Han family, while Han's father behaved normally, and only Han's mother acted strangely. Has the child been named? My name is written on the household registration at birth. What's it called? Hanqi. Guess the meaning of Hanqi. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1170. Chapter 1170 Paternity Test. After the child was born, Xia's mother and Han Xingyi stayed by Xiaoziun's side almost all the time. Han's mother was very dissatisfied with this and found a special time to call Han Xingyi out to educate her. She has to be in confinement for a month after giving birth. Are you still here to take care of her all the time? I take care of my wife, what's the problem? So many people outside have invited you with huge sums of money, but you have rejected them one by one. Are you going to risk your own bright future for a woman? Mom, you are also a mother yourself. You should be able to sympathize with the pain that you have experienced. Why can't you think about it from her perspective? My wife almost lost her most precious life in order to give birth to my child. As a husband, what does it mean for me to take care of her for a month? It cannot be compared with the pain she suffered. Han Xingyi really didn't understand. His mother, who he thought was reasonable at first, didn't know when she started to be so harsh and unreasonable. Does it mean that just because of an accident that was plotted by a gangster, he should bear the crime for the rest of his life? The dispute between Han Xingyi and Han's mother ended on bad terms, and Han's mother was so angry that she didn't show up at the hospital for 3 days in a row. But Mother Han did not leave because she was still thinking about one thing. Han's mother has been paying attention to the condition of the premature baby and heard that the baby will be able to come out of the incubator today. Han's mother arrived at the hospital early in the morning to keep watch. She was looking forward to seeing the child. Han's father took Han's mother and asked, "What on earth did you want to do by bringing me to the hospital so early in the morning? Aren't you angry with Xiaoye that you couldn't come to the hospital?" "Don't worry about it. You will know when the time comes. Of course what I want to do is what is good for our Han family." Han's father felt that Han's mother had a premeditated plan, but Han's mother refused to say anything. Before Xiaoziun woke up, Han Xingyi had already gone to see the child. Xiaoziun has been thinking about the child for a long time, and Han Xingyi wants to take the child directly. Han Xingyi didn't expect that his mother would come so punctually today. The nurse took the child out, and Han Xingyi carefully caught it. Father Han and Mother Han also gathered around. The baby looks much better than when he was born. The little milk baby's eyes are as beautiful as black gems. Not only Han Xingyi was happy to see the child, but Han's father was also very happy. He pointed at the child's eyebrows and said, "This child looks really good. His eyebrows and eyes look like yours." Hearing what Father Han said, Han Xingyi nodded repeatedly, "It looks similar to me." Mother Han's heart was filled with ripples. She stood on tiptoes and poked her head out to see, "You can see what a child like this looks like. Show me the child." Han's mother reached out to hold her child, but Han Xingyi hesitated and made no move. Han's father wanted to be a peacemaker, so he pushed Han Xingyi's hand. Han Xingyi hesitated for a moment, but still handed over the child. "Mom, I'm in trouble." Han Xingyi's movements were very careful. Fortunately, Han's mother was experienced and was very skilled in holding a child. The baby doesn't recognize it, and doesn't cry or fuss no matter who holds it. It just opens its big, innocent eyes and moves around. It's very cute. The more Han Ma looked at her, the softer her heart became. However, when she thought about the origin of the child, she hardened her heart no matter how soft she was. She hugged the child and said to the Han family and his son, "You two, follow me." Han's father and Han Xingyi didn't know what happened until Han's mother took them to the paternity testing office. End of this chapter.